Hi, hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Arya Nathaniel, Department of Zoology. Today we are going to discuss about structure of human brain in neural control and coordination. So our concept or topic is structure of human brain from the chapter neural control and coordination in the class 11th. Here human brain is called the living supercomputer. It is the living supercomputer because which can store more information. It is the living structure which can store more information. That's why we can tell think tank or living supercomputer. Human brain is the central processing organ, or it is the information processing organ of our body, act as a command and control system. Our body activities, all activities of our body is controlled by the brain. That's why you can tell it is the central information and processing organ of our body. Act as a command and control system in our body. See, it controls the voluntary movements. Our voluntary movements controlled by the brain. Our body balance controlled by the brain. Functioning of vital involuntary organs in our internal delicate organs functions also controlled by the brain, like lungs function, heart functions, kidney functions also controlled by the brain, which controls the thermoregulation, our body temperature, regulation of our body temperature controlled by the brain, because it is especially controlled by the hypothalamus. Hunger, our brain controls our hunger, hungriness, thirst, intake of water properly. So hunger and thirst also controlled by brain. Circadian rhythms of our body, our daily activities, whatever we are doing from morning, early bed to the evening. So these activities are controlled by the daily activities, circadian rhythms, regular activities also controlled by the brain. Activities of several endocrine glands, because neural system, endocrine system integrate and coordinate each other. That's why human brain also controls the activities of several endocrine glands, especially hypothalamus connected to the endocrine system. So which activities are controlled by the brain. Human behavior controlled by the brain. It is the site for processing of vision to see things. Brain controls the processing of vision, visual cortex of the brain, hearing, auditory cortex of the brain, speech, Broca's area present in the brain, memory, it is the center that maintains or that store memory, intelligence, emotions, thoughts, all of our body activities, functions, everything is under control of brain. That's why it is considered as think tank or living supercomputer. So we can tell this brain origination. The origin of brain, it is ectodermal origin. Neurectoderm, neural tube that develops a brain during embryonic stage. So origin is ectodermal origin. Now approximately 70 to 80% of the brain develops at the age of 2 years. So at the age of 2 years, 70 to 80% of the brain developed. Complete brain develops at the age of 6 years. So at the age of 6 years, brain develops completely. That means this brain, when we compare with other all vertebrates, brain and body mass, when we compare brain and body mass, human brain is the largest brain of all vertebrates. Human brain is the largest among all vertebrates. When we see relative to its body size, relative to its body mass, that means we can tell 2% of the total body weight our brain occupies. That means our body brain mass, when we compare our body mass and brain mass, human brain is the largest brain among all vertebrates. Even we can tell largest brain is present than the human brain, but when we compare with our body mass to the brain, human brain is the largest relative to its body size. You can tell elephant, largest organism which contains largest brain, but when we compare to its body size, human brain is the largest. So when we compare with the elephant brain to its body mass, which is very less in weight, so like you can tell it is about 1.25 kgs in an adult human being. So it weighs about 3.3 lbs. So the average weight is 3.3 pounds or 1.5 kilograms in adult human brain, or it is approximately 2% of weight compared to its body weight. See, average male brain volume is about 1274 cubic centimeters. So it is the cranial capacity or brain volume. Brain volume is about cubic centimeters, 1274 cubic centimeters in human male, adult human male average. Same way, average female brain has the volume of about 1131 cubic centimeters. So this brain makes up about 2% of the human's body weight. When I compare with the human's body weight, the brain weight is occupies 2%. Cerebrum makes 85% of the brain, which is the largest portion of the human brain. Cerebrum occupies largest portion. That's why 85% of the brain makes up from by cerebrum. Say it contains about 86 billion neurons or nerve cells. Human brain contains about 86 billion neurons. Nerve cells are about 86 billion neurons, or we can tell approximate about 8.6 into 10 power 10. So that means there are more number of neurons, or about approximately 100 billion neurons are present in human brain. So it contains billions of nerve fibers, axons and dendrites. Nerve cells, cell bodies about 86 billion neurons. Nerve fibers, axons and dendrites constitute some billions of nerve fibers are present. So nerve cells forms gray matter and axons and dendrites forms white matter. So like which appears a whitish appearance, white matter formed by the nerve fibers, gray matter formed by the neuronal cell bodies. So here 86 billion nerve cells are present, which are the more number of nerve cells among all vertebrates. But we can say about 257 billion neurons, which are more than the human nerve cells, human brain nerve cells that are seen in the African elephant. So African elephant have more number of neurons than the human brain. So that means human brain is the second place in the number of neurons. Number of neurons are more in the African elephant. So these neurons are connected by trillions of connections called synapses. In human brain, about 86 billion neurons are present. That neurons form some trillions of connections or some trillions of synapses between the neurons. Some trillions of synapses are present in the human neurons, human brain. Here we can observe this narrow subdural space between the dura mater and arachnoid matter is called as subdural space. So subdural space is present. So like arachnoid matter is the middle membrane which is separated from the dura mater by a narrow subdural space. In this subdural space we can observe cerebrospinal fluid. So cerebrospinal fluid is not present in the subdural space. Next, pia mater. So pia mater is the innermost layer. It is also thin. That's why you can tell among the three cranial meninges, dura mater is a thick membrane. Arachnoidal matter is a thin webby membrane, and pia mater also thin innermost layer of the brain which is closely attaches or adheres to the brain. Pia mater separated from the arachnoid matter by subarachnoid space. Here we can tell the pia mater separated from the arachnoidal membrane by a subarachnoidal space. Here we can tell this subarachnoidal space is filled with a fluid called cerebrospinal fluid. That cerebrospinal fluid protects the brain. Cerebrospinal fluid helpful to prevent any jerks or it is protected from the shocks or jerks like that. So this subarachnoidal space is filled with the cerebrospinal fluid. Like okay. See, brain divided mainly into three major parts. There are three major parts are present in the human brain. They are forebrain, see, thalamus, cerebrum and the hypothalamus, which constitute forebrain. So forebrain contains cerebrum, the largest portion, thalamus and hypothalamus. The cerebrum, thalamus, hypothalamus constitute forebrain. Midbrain, say here we can observe midbrain is midbrain and hindbrain. Hindbrain pons, medulla and the cerebellum, so which constitute hindbrain. So like brain can be divided into three major parts: forebrain, midbrain and the hindbrain. Forebrain contains cerebrum, thalamus, hypothalamus. Midbrain and hindbrain contains pons, medulla oblongata, cerebellum. So like we can observe three parts in the human brain. See, cerebrum, thalamus, hypothalamus. So this cerebrum, thalamus, hypothalamus constitute forebrain. Forebrain and midbrain. Here midbrain, this is the part of midbrain. We can tell corpora quadrigemina and crura cerebri are included in the midbrain. like hindbrain, pons, cerebellum and medulla constitute hindbrain. Like we can tell three parts of the human. See first, forebrain. Forebrain also called prosencephalon. Prosencephalon is the part of brain, or it is also called as forebrain. So this forebrain or prosencephalon consists of olfactory bulbs. A pair of olfactory bulbs are present. Cerebrum, a major portion of the human brain, cerebrum, diencephalon. Diencephalon also part of human brain. That means epithalamus, thalamus, hypothalamus constitute called diencephalon. See, olfactory bulbs. See here, a pair of olfactory bulbs. These olfactory bulbs are present below the cerebrum, anterior to the cerebrum, below inner portion, below the cerebrum. We can observe a pair of olfactory bulbs. So this olfactory bulb's function is to receive the sensation of smell impulses related to the sensation of smell from the olfactory epithelium. Olfactory epithelium, that means it's connected to the olfactory epithelium in the nose, receives impulses pertaining to sensation of smell. See, we can see that olfactory bulb, it receives impulses pertaining to sensation of smell from the olfactory epithelium present in the nasal chamber, and nasal chamber lined with olfactory epithelium. So that neurons connected to the olfactory epithelium. So when we take any smell, the sensation of smell taken by the olfactory epithelium receptors pass to the olfactory bulbs in the cerebrum, olfactory bulbs in the forebrain. So like forebrain contains olfactory bulbs receive impulses pertaining to smell from the olfactory epithelium. Like we can observe cerebrum, it is the major part of the human brain. So cerebrum is a part of forebrain. It forms major part of the human brain. Major part of the human brain is cerebrum. So this cerebrum divided into two cerebral hemispheres longitudinally. We can see that a deep cleft divides the cerebrum longitudinally into two halves, which are termed as a left and a right cerebral hemispheres. See, longitudinally it's divided into two cerebral hemispheres. So this longitudinal halves separate or divide the cerebrum into two cerebral hemispheres. The two cerebral hemispheres are connected by tracts of nerve fibers. Tracts of nerve fibers connect the two cerebral hemispheres, which brings coordination between the two cerebral hemispheres by the tracts of myelinated nerve fibers. See, these two cerebral hemispheres are connected by tracts of myelinated nerve fibers called corpus callosum. So corpus callosum we can observe in human brain. Corpus callosum, the tracts of nerve fibers. The tracts of nerve fibers connect the two cerebral hemispheres. So this corpus callosum connect the two cerebral hemispheres. Corpus callosum separated cerebral hemispheres are connected by the tracts of myelinated nerve fibers. That myelinated nerve fiber tract forms corpus callosum, also called as callosal commissure. See, it brings coordination between the right and the left side of the cerebral hemisphere. So coordination between two cerebral hemispheres brought about by the corpus callosum. See, the layer of the cells which cover the cerebral hemispheres. See here, cerebral hemispheres externally covered by a layer of cells that are called cerebral cortex. Cerebral cortex, we can observe some layer of cells that covers the cerebral hemispheres. That layer of cells called cerebral cortex. So the cerebral cortex thrown into prominent folds like cortex thrown into folds like this folds present over the cerebrum or cerebral cortex. See, the cerebral cortex is referred to as gray matter because gray matter means where the neuronal cell bodies are concentrated. So neuronal cell bodies are concentrated in the cerebral cortex. That's why which appears like a grayish appearance. See, neuronal cell bodies are concentrated here, giving the gray color. So gray color given by the neuronal cell bodies in the cerebral cortex. The surface of the cerebral cortex shows many convolutions. That convolutions also called as folds. So these convolutions are folds and so many grooves are present. See, that folds are called as gyri. Grooves are again two types, shallow grooves and deepest grooves. So deepest grooves are called as fissures, shallow grooves are called as sulci. So like we can tell, folds are commonly called gyri and deepest grooves are called as fissures, shallow grooves are called as sulci. So this gyri and shallow grooves, gyri and shallow grooves are folds and shallow grooves are together are respectively called gyri and sulci. Folds are called as gyri, shallower grooves are called as sulci. So this gyri and sulci helpful to increase the size or surface area of the brain. Brain surface area increased by gyri and sulci. See, cerebral cortex contains some areas. We can tell motor area, sensory areas, and some large areas called association areas. Like that, areas are present which are helpful for specific functions. See, motor areas controls voluntary muscular movements. Cerebral cortex contains motor areas. Motor areas, generally you can tell sensory areas, motor areas. Sensory areas receive sensory impulses. Motor areas send motor impulses from the brain to the specific organ. So motor areas control voluntary muscular movements. That means motor areas send impulses to the muscular muscles or voluntary muscles or skeletal muscles. So that voluntary muscles movement is controlled by the motor areas. Sensory areas receive and interpret sensory impulses. In the human cerebral cortex receive impulses like sensory impulses received from all parts. Sensory impulses received from the body parts and interpret that sensory impulses. Some large regions called association areas. That association areas are neither clearly sensory nor motor in function. That means which may not receive or which may not send impulses, which are called association areas, which are responsible for some complex functions. These are mainly responsible for functions like memory and communication. So the main function of these association areas, we can tell intersensory associations. That intersensory association like memory and communication. Memory and communication is controlled by the association areas like cerebral medulla. Cerebral cortex is studied. Next, cerebral medulla, which is inner portion of the human brain. Cerebral medulla contains the fibers of the tracts covered by the myelin sheath. So which also contains some fibers of tracts, cerebral medulla. Cerebral cortex contains neuronal cell bodies. Cerebral medulla contains axons. So fibers of tracts. Axons are dendrites. So these fibers are tracts which covers with myelin sheath. So the axons are present in the cerebral medulla. That axons are covered with the myelin sheath. So like myelin sheath covered by the axons in the cerebral medulla. So which constitute inner part of the cerebral hemisphere, that we can tell cerebral medulla is the inner part of the cerebral. So due to presence of neuronal axons which gives a opaque whitish appearance to the layer, and it is called as white matter. So cerebral medulla contains fibers of tracts are covered with the myelin sheath. That fibers of tracts gives a opaque white appearance to that cerebral medulla. That white appearance is considered as white matter. So like we can observe cerebral medulla. This each cerebral hemisphere contains 4 lobes. You can tell there are 4 lobes are present in the each cerebral hemisphere. These 4 lobes like frontal lobe, parietal lobe, temporal lobe and occipital lobe. See, anterior part of the brain which appears light color, that anterior part of the brain is considered as frontal lobe. Below or behind that frontal lobe we can observe parietal lobe. Below the parietal lobe back occipital lobe. Below the occipital lobe we can observe or side we can observe temporal lobe. At both sides you can observe temporal. So each cerebral hemisphere contains 4 lobes: frontal lobe, parietal lobe, temporal lobe and the occipital lobe. So like you can observe cerebrum. So cerebrum again contains diencephalon. So that we'll see again in the next class.